welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're totally bypassing the usual geopolitical lens to uncover the breathtaking reality of Afghanistan. We're talking beyond the headlines, diving into a nation absolutely packed with rich, untouched culture, ancient history, and some of the most resilient people on Earth. For way too long, the global conversation has just pigeonholed this region, right? Kept it in this remarkably narrow scope. But today, we're going to peel back those heavy layers and actually explore the vibrant everyday life that's thriving right underneath.
So let's just dive right in and confront the elephant in the room. What actually comes to your mind when you hear the name of this country? If you're like most of us, your brain probably jumps straight to heavily guarded checkpoints, endless conflict, maybe harsh societal restrictions. And hey, it's totally understandable. That is literally the exact and pretty much the only narrative we've been fed by the mainstream for decades.
But just think about this stark contrast for a second. We're looking at a super narrow window of recent conflict stacked up against millennia of profound, completely untouched civilization. On one hand, you have 45 years of modern war completely dominating the global news cycle. But on that exact same soil, you've got an astonishing 3,000 years of cultural heritage, breathtaking landscapes, and everyday human stories that just get buried. Kind of makes you pause, doesn't it? Just realizing how much of the human experience gets totally eclipsed when we only focus on the breaking news.
All right, Section 1, Beyond the Headlines, a Reality Unseen.
When you actually look beneath the heavy security and those towering concrete walls, you find a vibrant, breathing society. Imagine bustling, chaotic markets in Kabul, where folks are proudly rocking comfortable, solid-colored traditional clothes. No flashy logos, no oversized brand names, just beautiful, simple tradition that's been around for generations. And get this, when Friday rolls around, the weekend, locals literally pack up and head out to places like the neon blue lakes of Bandiyamir. They're out there riding swan boats, smoking hookah, and just chilling in the pristine mountain air. Across all 7 unique provinces, from Kabul's busy streets to Kandahar's dusty roads, the everyday hospitality and the smiling faces absolutely shatter that tense, guarded imagery we're so used to.
Moving on to Section 2, a living time machine, walking through centuries.
People actually describe traveling here as the closest thing to real-life time travel. It is a literal crossroads of global empires. We're talking way back to 3000 BC with the ancient settlement of Bamiyan. Then, fast forward to 330 BC, Alexander the Great actually arrives on his conquest, leaving behind this massive citadel in Herat. By the 4th century, Buddhism reaches its westernmost expansion here, leaving behind these jaw-dropping 55-meter-tall Buddhas carved right into the sheer stone cliffs. And then, boom, 12th century, the imposing city of Screams is attacked by Genghis Khan. You can literally walk through these exact same ancient ruins today, tracing the very footsteps of world-altering conquerors and monks.
To ground all this massive history into a single, relatable human story, let me introduce you to Haji. He's this gentle, elderly man working in Kabul, and he's actually one of the very last people on the planet preserving the absolute magic of manual black and white street photography. He operates this massive wooden box camera that is well over a century old. And no, it's not a gimmick. It's his lifelong passion, something his cousin taught him over 60 years ago.
The crazy thing here is that this hands-on, highly physical process straight out of the 1800s is still happening right now on the busy streets of Kabul. He has his subjects sit perfectly still, then he physically focuses the heavy wooden lens, reaches his arm into a light-proof sleeve, and literally develops the paper right there, directly inside the camera, using a fixer solution. It's a complete, magical, self-contained darkroom from a bygone era, just churning out these one-of-a-kind portraits in real time.
Now for Section 3, Flavors and Everyday Hospitality, the Taste of the Nation.
Let's totally shatter that monochrome, dusty image of Afghanistan with an absolute sensory explosion. The everyday food scene here is out of this world. You've got sweet, bursting juices from Kandahar's vast pomegranate fields. On the street, vendors are frying up balani, which is this incredibly thin, crispy flatbread stuffed with potatoes and leeks until it's dripping with savory juices. Think heavily spiced street kebabs dipped in a totally unique raw sour grape sauce that just brightens the whole flavor profile. Up in the chilly, high-altitude mountains of Bamiyan, they ladle out this thick, rich chicken soup topped with sharp local apple vinegar to warm you right up. And obviously, literally everywhere you go, in every shop and home, you are welcomed with cups of hot, fragrant chai, usually served with a little rock candy on the side.
Actually, there's this great quote from local farmers down in Kandahar. "It's not good to get out of this garden without any pomegranates." They will cheerfully run up to complete strangers just to gift them armfuls of fresh, heavy fruit. I mean, it perfectly captures the warm, welcoming hospitality deeply embedded in Afghan culture. You are treated as an honored guest first and foremost, and generosity is just a foundational way of life there.
That brings us to Section 4, a hidden cultural tapestry, diversity in the mountains.
As we journey deeper into the country, you find this incredibly rich tapestry of ethnic diversity and hidden histories that completely defy all expectations. Take Bamyan Province, for example. A solid 95% of the population there are the resilient Hazara people. Their distinct facial features actually closely resemble those of East Asia or Mongolia, pointing to ancient migrations and a massive blending of cultures over millennia. Despite facing some severe historical hardships, they've built this incredibly peaceful, remarkably stable haven up in the mountains. It's a beautiful snapshot of the deep, complex ethnic mosaic that makes up the country.
And then there's this dramatic, almost unbelievable historical remnant, the number 1, just 1, that represents Zabilan Simintov, the very last Jewish person living in Afghanistan.
To put that into perspective, back in the mid-19th century, there was a thriving community of over 40,000 Jewish residents in the western city of Herat. But today, after decades of shifting regimes and modern conflict, Zabilan is entirely alone in Kabul. Despite losing his fortune, despite being in prison during different political eras, he absolutely refused to abandon his homeland. He acts as the sole caretaker of the country's very last synagogue, continuing to read the Torah, keep kosher, and fiercely hold on to his Orthodox traditions right in the middle of a predominantly Muslim country. It's truly incredible.
You see that same fierce, unyielding dedication to tradition over at Herat's stunning Blue Mosque. Tucked away behind the scenes in these dusty workshops, artisans follow an exact, painstaking 6-step process to hand-make vibrant tiles literally the exact same way they have for 700 years. They gather local mud, manually shape it into squares, and let it dry. Then, they coat it in a crushed, broken glass shell for that signature shine, bake it at 500 degrees, paint these unbelievably intricate geometric designs entirely by hand, and then finally fire it again at a staggering 900 degrees Celsius. It is a breathtaking, unbroken chain of artistry spanning centuries.
All right, our final theme, Section 5, the women of Afghanistan, resilience and dreams.
Now, while the overarching reality is definitely a strictly male-dominated society, the day-to-day situation actually shifts dramatically depending on exactly where you are in the country. In some of the faraway, more heavily restricted provinces, societal rules absolutely dictate that women must cover their faces and mostly stay at home. But contrast that with places like Bamyan Province. There, women proudly show their faces in the markets, they ride bicycles through the valleys, they even go skiing in the winter. They are actively reclaiming their freedom and their visibility in public spaces.
Take this amazing female cyclist from Bamyan, for example. She said, "Now the people understood that women can do everything that they want and they are much stronger than they think." Even though men in our own community used to tell her it was inappropriate or bad for a girl to ride a bike just a few years ago, she pushed right through that societal barrier. Today, she proudly competes in national races and actually gets cheered on by her community. It just proves that women can do absolutely anything and are so much stronger than anyone gives them credit for.
Echoing that immense bravery is Fatima. She is the very first female mystical dancer in Afghanistan. She took a traditionally private, exclusively male-dominated Sufi meditation dance and boldly brought it right into the public sphere for everyone to see. It is a visually mesmerizing practice that requires intense focus and grace. And when she faced criticism for breaking the mold, her response was simple and iconic. "I'm a human and I don't care what they think. I do anything that I love."
A local female photographer beautifully summed up this unbreakable spirit. We need to begin from somewhere. We need to bring changes to ourselves. And then you suddenly see the magic happens. Whether it's a mother starting a super successful home cooking delivery business on Facebook to support her family, or a 19-year-old girl traveling across distant provinces just to master traditional musical instruments, they aren't waiting around for the world to change for them. They are literally initiating the change themselves, creating their own opportunities and proving their immense capabilities every single day.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, provocative question. How has this journey changed your perspective? We've just explored world-shaping ancient history, deeply vibrant daily culture, and this absolutely unyielding human spirit. If you look beyond the heavy news headlines and the endless geopolitical conflicts, you will find a resilient, profoundly beautiful people who really just want to share their ancient, vibrant, and peaceful world with you. Thanks so much for exploring with me, and I hope this completely changes how you view this incredible piece of our world.